Hello and welcome to another edition of Super Start Select.
I'm Johnny Chiodini. He's Seb Ford. Between us, we are incredibly handsome and not very tall.
They said the internet might implode if we both appeared on camera at once, but we proved them wrong. And here's what's coming up on today's show. News! The hammer of justice falls with the news that EA is keeping its Battlefield 1943 promise after all.
Other news, Catherine gets a European release date. Then resident scientist, mechanic and philanthropist Cameron Robinson takes a look at the Assassin's Creed series. Do all those fancy gadgets, high dives and over-engineered lounge chairs have any grounding in reality? Or is Ubisoft's futuristic franchise all just a load of codswallop featuring professional awkward fellow Danny Wallace?
Then, making more of the scientific study times, we take a look at the horrific real-world impact Skyrim's having on the gaming public at large.
In other words, we made Mark put on a Kigu. All that plus your ever-illuminating feedback to come, assuming the internet doesn't actually implode before the end of the show.
Nope, looks like we're good. Initiate news sequence. So, earlier in the week, you may have tuned in to hear that mega publisher Electronic Arts had been bent over a legal barrel and pounded with a lawsuit from behind. In case you missed it, the suit filed was in reference to EA failing to deliver on its promise to provide a free copy of downloadable shooter Battlefield 1943 to gamers choosing to pick up a PlayStation 3 copy of the recently released Battlefield 3. Well, it would seem that the publisher has now decided to make good on its original promise after saying that there had been some misunderstandings. I only count one misunderstanding. Where's my free stuff? Well, if you were one of these misunderstandees, you may be interested to know that the European battlefielders will be shooting up World War II shores in 1943 from November 26th, with America not far behind on December 10th, and another week later in Asia from December 17th. Incidentally, there seems to be no change to the promised early Battlefield 3 DLC for PS3 gamers originally offered in lieu of the missing oldie time shooty gun game. We're pleased to announce that all early adopters of Start Select choosing to watch the show on an internet browser will also get this neat Johnny Chiodini action figure, complete with catchphrases.
I'm not a dick!
This is definitely a promise that we will definitely honour.
Next, if you live in Europe and you enjoy running around in your underwear after sheep, then boy have we got the game for you. Yes, Catherine, the Asian dating game / nightmarish platformer, has been dated for release in 2012. Hooray! February 2012 is the month European gamers can finally catch up with the rest of the world and start questioning their dating morals. We scored the game at an 8.5, meaning it's great. Or that we hate it or something, I don't know. Numbers are so confusing nowadays. Assassin's Creed is a remarkably popular franchise with some well-loved tropes like stealthy assassinations,
Reliving ancestral memories,
and offensively generic Mediterranean accents. But have you ever stopped brutalising bards, guards and Templars for a second and asked yourself, is this really possible?
Lucky for you, resident science enthusiast Cameron Robinson has, and he's just about mopped enough blood off his lab coat to bring you the answers. So without any further ado, we bring you Assassin's Creed. Does it work?
Since 2007, the Assassin's Creed series has let players climb, jump, leap, and of course stab their way through swathes of history. The fiction hinges on the Animus, a machine that lets you revisit the ancestral memories of the game's main protagonist, Desmond Miles. Fortunately, the Animus sticks you, the player, in the role of various assassins from way back in his ancestral line, not say his gran who worked as a florist. That would make for a very different game. Under control of the player, our assassins perform feats of near superhuman ability as they murder their way through ye old picturesque towns and cities. But how much of the game's fiction is actually possible? Time to take a look at some of the key tropes of the series and ask, does it work? When it comes to taking out a target, Assassin's Creed gives you plenty of lethal options. Throwing knives, crossbows, poison blades, and guns all find a place in your arsenal. Notably, the vast majority of these have been used as instruments of death by real-life assassins through the ages. But what about the most iconic weapon of the entire Assassin's Creed franchise? The Hidden Blade. Deadly when strapped to the arm of an assassino, the Hidden Blade can deploy and retract at a moment's notice, allowing for a silent and stealthy kill. In later games, when combined with a metal bracer, it can even be used for full-on combat. Unfortunately, unlike the vast majority of the weapons in your fictional arsenal, the hidden blade, as we see it here, does not appear to have existed in reality. However, concealed and disguised blades certainly have had their place in murdery history. Take a look at this blade, for example, hidden inside a pencil on display at the Imperial War Museum in London. Okay, but just because our hidden blade didn't exist, doesn't mean it couldn't work. In the fiction, the device consists of a retractable blade attached to the lower arm and wrist and usually combines with a bracer to aid the blocking of incoming attacks. The precise details of the device vary, however, dependent on the era. For example, assassins from the time of Altair were required to have their middle finger lopped off to make way for the extendo blade. Thankfully for Ezio in Assassin's Creed 2, the mechanism had been modified, but that didn't stop Leonardo joking around.
Now all that's left is to remove your ring finger. Really? I'm sorry, but this is how it must be done. The blade is designed to ensure the commitment of whoever wields it. Bene. Do it quickly. I was only having fun, Ezio.
I don't care how many genius things you invent, Leo, that's no excuse for being a dick. The feasibility of a real hidden blade gets shakier when you look at the deployment mechanism. Early trailers from the original Assassin's Creed clearly show a button press to trigger the blade, whereas on other occasions it just appears to take a flick of the wrist to activate. If it is indeed activated by a simple muscle contraction, this would certainly be an easy way to deploy the blade, but perhaps a little bit too easy.
I did not know you had returned to Roma.
Had a second chance.
One more plausible way of activating the blade has been hinted at in Assassin's Creed The Secret Crusade. It consists of a ring attached with string around middle finger and pulled to deploy or retract the blade. This is such a good idea, in fact, that a bunch of people have actually built models which function in just this way. You can even purchase high-spec replicas so you too can sneak around with a model of the coolest weapon in fake history. Be it by jumping from roof to roof or scaling towers and buildings, the super agile assassins have no problem getting around the city. But how possible is it to traverse an urban environment in such a way? Jumping around on buildings pretty much sums up modern day parkour. One quick Google gives you more incredible examples of speed and agility than you can shake a hidden blade at. This one especially amazing video showing parkour and free running has had over 29 million views on YouTube, not too shabby. Scaling buildings and surfaces Ezio style also appears to be well within the realms of human capability. Just look at this guy in India climb up this seemingly flat wall, or the many examples of half-crazed nutjobs who insist on climbing modern day skyscrapers without the aid of rope or harness. To die-hard fans of Assassin's Creed, the sound of a screaming eagle means 3 simple words and 1 stunt of death defiance: leap of faith. However, is it possible for someone to pull off such a move without, going splat? Well, let's investigate with little help from the lovely people at Kotaku, who produced an excellent analysis of the leap of faith back in 2009. Follow the link below for a really detailed read, but the gist is as follows. It's not the fall that kills you, rather the speed of your deceleration. Imagine a trapeze artist falling into a safety net. The reason they don't smush is because the mat decelerates them more gradually than would the cold hard ground. Now, our assassin in freefall accelerates at the standard 9.8 meters per second due to gravity. So in the name of science, let's jump off this tower and time it. Right, that took about 3.5 seconds, so we can calculate its final velocity as 9.8 times 3.5, which comes out roughly 35 meters per second, so that's a little over 70 miles per hour. Now imagine a car speeding at 70 miles an hour with a 1 meter thick block of hay strapped to the front, slamming into our poor helpless assassin as he crosses the road without looking. Yep, I don't care if that's the softest hay money can buy, that's one dead assassin. Also, on top of the impact problem, you've got the issue of actually hitting the landing zone. Remember that the higher you climb, the smaller your effective target. To see how much hay would actually be needed for a safe leap of faith, check out the Kotaku article. Hint, it's a lot. Or you could just call up and ask the chaps at the Witcher 2 developers CD Projekt. From the look at this Easter egg in their game, they've already done the math. Okay, but from what height could you safely do this jump? Well, granted it's not quite the same, but there is this guy here called Darren Taylor, or Professor Splash to his friends, who holds the world record for shallow dive into paddling pool. Here he is attempting to break his previous record with a jump of 11 meters. Let's take a look. Wow, he looks happy. And finally, what about the giant elephant in the room? You know, that central sci-fi conceit of the whole fiction, without which the series could not exist. The Animus. Or more specifically, the ability of DNA to hold the memories of your ancestors. Is that possible? In a word, no. DNA is the molecule which holds all the genetic information needed to produce a particular living thing. It works kind of like a code or blueprint. Any child is a combination of the DNA from their father and mother. However, the DNA we receive from each of our parents is the same as it was when they were in development themselves, before they had any memories or experiences. Therefore, for that reason, among many others, it's impossible to pass on experiences that occur in someone's lifetime. The researchers at Abstergo, though, would have gotten along pretty well with this dude, 18th century French biologist Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. His now discredited theory of inheritance, reasonably popular in its day, said that parents could pass on characteristics they weren't born with, but picked up in their lifetime to their kids. So if your mum learned to wrestle as a teenager and your dad picked up Morris dancing before fathering you, then hey, maybe you'd be a pro wrestling Morris dancer or something. But then even Lamarckism doesn't go as far as saying as you could pass on actual memories. As always, we're not here to ruin anyone's fun with our insufferably nerdy musings. The Assassin's Creed fiction is awesome and, like all our favourite sci-fi, walks the line quite wonderfully between the imaginationally grabbingly fantastic and the kinda maybe plausible. Apart from, you know, the whole genetic memory thing.
There you have it, kids. Turns out jumping into hay bales from buildings isn't such a great idea. Incidentally, if you're watching this from your roof, best take the ladder back down when you're finished, eh?
Then not before you've watched our next feature, unless there's a thunderstorm imminent, in which case, yes, do please get down from there.
In this Start Select documentary special, we look at the plight of several people suffering from the newly discovered Skyrim affective disorder. A poor soul.
Enjoy!
Well, in Skyrim, you know, I've just decided that, you know, I don't want to use any magic or, you know, cook any food or do any quests or even wear any clothes. I just want to be out there and live among the animals. I mean, that's the most noble way to live, right? So I travel the land running with the animals, you know, really connecting with nature. I mean, I've set myself my fair share of difficulties, don't get me wrong. Not everyone is so accepting of this.
Get away from me.
Including some of the animals themselves, frankly. But it's clean living, you know? I just feel invigorated, you know?
Yeah, when my clan told me they were quitting Call of Duty to play some game called Skyrim, I thought, you know, I'd pick it up and give it a go. It's pretty different than most shooters I've played. The skin chooser is really detailed, which is kind of cool, but you don't even get a weapon at the start. My hand-to-hand was so weak that the guys at the start didn't even notice.
Got to be a sword or two in one of these chests.
I eventually found a knife, but I was just wandering around looking for a map for ages. The first one I found was this kind of country village-looking map. Had a bunch of chickens running around it like Counter-Strike. It was full of noobs too, none of them had any weapons. Just as well, because I was stuck on melee. Nobody dropped any guns when I killed them either, and they all spoke in these really weird accents. I guess this game's really popular in Sweden or something.
So yeah, when Skyrim came out, I played the hell out of that game. I literally didn't move from my chair for about a week, and didn't wash. I'm pretty sure I lost touch with most of my loved ones as well. Yeah, I only ate actually because I lost the strength to push the buttons. Since playing Skyrim, I'm starting to forget if I'm in the real world or if I'm in the game world, you know? The lines are blurring, and I'm starting to worry about my health and my job. You know, they might be at risk. My alchemist told me I should take daily fortifying potions though, to keep on top of any heart problems, and apparently should also help address my rattles. My boss down at the wood mill doesn't seem to have identified any slack in my workload. And I've been cooking proper meals again. I didn't even realize I knew how to make apple and cabbage stew.
I just feel like I'm finally comfortable in my own skin, you know? Sure, you know, I get some funny looks sometimes, but luckily I've found a really accommodating boss who doesn't mind me smithing as nature intended. I mean, ultimately, Skyrim is an open world experience, you know? You're free to do whatever you want, and if that means removing all your clothes and marrying a goat, so what? I haven't quite worked out how to marry my goat yet.
One guy dropped this rubbish wooden sniper rifle, so I just camped on top of one of the buildings and got a few kills up there. Then this one noob with a flamethrower killed me and kicked me back to the lobby. There are some other maps too, like the snow maps and forest maps, but I don't think any of them are popular because nobody's playing them. Some of the maps are set during the night, which is dumb because you can't even see anybody. The most popular games are in these stupid cave maps. They're just full of campers and everyone seems to be ganging up on me. Everybody's using hacks too, they keep turning invisible. And I still haven't found any guns. It's gonna take me ages to prestige.
I haven't hung up Skyrim though, you know. I still like dip in and play a bit. It's just really fun. I mainly roll as a thief though, you know, nothing's better than like sneaking around and stealing people's stuff. There's also this great game bug where you can drag a bucket over someone's head and take the stuff from right in front of them. Getting it over their head, you know, can be tricky, but if that doesn't work, you can just like fill up a basket of their stuff and just walk out of there. I don't recall the last time I leveled up though, and I've opened up some like weird hidden talent tree with some really strange training options.
Can I help you with anything else? Sure, I can teach you that. What are your thoughts on potatoes?
I'm still really loving this game though. I think I'm gonna go and play it tonight and try and steal one of those mechanical road horses.
Feedback time!
Oh, user feedback, user feedback! User feedback.
First up, in response to Cameron's news of Bully 2 and an incoming Skyrim patch, stunningly indifferent fellow Judy Boy said, Bully 2, oh yeah! And Skyrim is sick, also Minecraft is sick, everything in this video is sick!
Meanwhile, Zulwalks, in response to Jane detailing British parliamentary moanings about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, made this shocking confession. I'm a gamer. I play violent games like Modern Warfare 2, not 3, it's bloody expensive here, Battlefield 3 and Grand Theft Auto. This clearly means that I go around killing innocent people in an airport, shoot rockets at everything, and have sex with prostitutes and killing them to get my money back. Kiss my bottom. We won't be going anywhere near your bottom, Zulwalks. Just be grateful we aren't reporting you to the proper authorities.
Over on Facebook, Simon Corbett, though, is much less enthusiastic about first-person shooters. He says, right, Final Fantasy looks alright, but getting sick of hearing about the abomination known as Modern Warfare 3.
And finally, after Seb's earlier appearance on Start Select this week, user Norman69 said the following. More singing, Mr. Ford, please. We're waiting.
Seb Ford, they're coming, Sebby. Right, that's almost it from us, but there's just enough time to kick the 7-foot warrior out of our office, once and for all.
No, we're not talking about the internet's Mark Walton. He's only 6'2" and he punches like a girl. We are, of course, talking about our giant hulking Skyrim statue.
Last week, we posed you Skyrim-related questions, giving you the chance to keep the statue all to yourself. Now for the answers. The patron deity of the Dark Brotherhood is Sithis.
The Amulet of Kings is what's required to relight the dragon fires.
The Daedric Lord of Dusk and Dawn is Azura.
And Force Balance Push in the language of the dragons is, of course, Force Roda!
Loads of you entered, but the one true Dragonborn and winner of our statue is Matt Berg from Melton Mowbray. Congratulations, Matt, and thank you, Melton Mowbray, for the gift of pork pies.
We'll be in touch soon to arrange delivery, Matt. Enjoy! It smells awful, by the way.
It really, really does.
Right, that's all for this week, but don't forget to leave a steaming pile of feedback on our doorstep via Twitter, where we're at GameSpot UK, Facebook.com/GameSpot UK, or of course the Start Select homepage.
So long, mortals.
You sound very chipper.
Yeah.
For quite a serious
Oh, it's a
sounding
very
link.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, hey, people are dying! Yes, Catherine, the Asian dating game / nightmarish platformer, has been... Dunno, I just stopped talking. I just stopped talking. I'll go from yes.
It's kind of like a choose your own adventure news story.
Has been. Turn to page 43. Okay.
A for released, B for cancelled.
C for... I'm on fire. Facebook.com/GameSpot UK or
Orifice. Or of course.
Or my orifice. Put your feet back in my arse.
Don't do that.
Don't put that in the outtakes. We're never going to be allowed to do this show together again.
Never.